because it kept playing over and over again yesterday. So I'll just,
Oh no.
I'll just maybe I could play it on my own. Or okay,
Well, I
yeah,
think we are
um,
live now, so I think they're hearing us.
yeah. Let me see if I can play the intro. All right, no, never mind. I'll skip it for today. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I got my friend from my city here with me today. Yeah, so me and Kat met before. She lives in Pittsburgh here. She's a Pittsburgh native, and she's really cool. She's an artist, a mystic, a fire gazer whose mixed media creations are portals into myth, illness, ancestral memory, and paganism. Her work channels the old gods, pagan spirits, the dream wisdom to guide shadow integration and healing through artistic expression. She's the winner of awards and published in both art and wellness spaces. Kat is now a voice of raw truth and creative magic. And she has a YouTube channel. It's YouTube at Cat Monster Arts. And tonight she'll be doing live readings for you guys. But we'll also be covering like shadow work, recovery from illness, trauma, conversations with ancestors through tarot, fire, dreams, art as a healing ritual, crystals, nature, and magic of found objects, mythology, paganism, and surviving through creativity. And you can look at Kat's art. You can find it at Veiledartist on Instagram. And then on Facebook, she's at Broken Firefly. And with all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Kat, thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you having me back on.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. This is going to be cool. So, for the people that might have not saw our first show, tell the people a little bit about yourself and your journey so far.
Okay. So I am pagan. I am eclectic pagan, so I do have a pantheon that I pray to. So it's not just like the Wiccan set or a hoodoo set, but it is kind of like a pick and choose your own adventure sort of thing. You mentioned that I do fire gazing as well, so that is a form of divination, and we can go into that later. I do have gastroparesis, and that has fed into like a lot of my art, and changed my art style over the years because of that. Because like I didn't have enough energy to really put into the bigger, larger abstracts and paintings and things. So I ended up refocusing on doing more watercolors and still surrealism, but like changing up my art style. I did win the Art Association of Harrisburg's 92nd award for second place for watercolor for my stomach monster. And I can bring that out later if we'd like to see that again. But that's depicting what it feels like to have gastroparesis. And if you don't know what gastroparesis is, it's a paralyzed stomach. Your vagus nerve is paralyzed. So like I eat and then my body just goes, okay. And like doesn't do anything with it. It doesn't tell my brain that we have food, that we have to digest it, whatever. And so there's complications that come with that. And,
I didn't know that the gastroparesis had the vagus nerve involved with it. There was a guy who came on. His name was Cliff High. He used to come on podcast. He still does podcasts. He's in like the alternative media space. He was talking about like aliens and stuff and how like he feels like ETs don't have a vagus nerve, but we do. And he feels like the vagus nerve is responsible for a lot. He feels like it could also be responsible for some of our like emotional responses and stuff like that too.
Yeah. So actually, the doctors that I'm seeing, they're at UPMC, so it is a big hospital. But they've started to make the connection that the mind gut connection. So I do vagus nerve breathing exercises where I do diaphragm breathing to try to like re-stimulate the vagus nerve. I've been doing a lot of shadow work to realign my chakras to help with that, as well as Reiki. Which I'm seeing one of my friends who does that for me. But yeah, mine got damaged actually through Lyme's disease. There's only a couple of studies on it. Gastroparesis is not very known. There's 200,000 people that are diagnosed currently in the United States. So you can imagine that the specialists are very small. And I had been having to like really travel, going to like Temple Hospital out in Philly. I went to Johns Hopkins, and now going to UPMC here in Pittsburgh, and UPMC honestly has made like leaps and bounds with it. But that, along with I think my spiritual practice, has really helped to get me in a better mindset to where I'm not like, oh, I'm damaged. Like I can't do these things anymore. I don't have the energy. Um, and I do take it day by day. Um, but it's the vagus nerve really does control, like your guest had said, it really does control a lot. Like it controls your whole digestive system. It really feeds into how your body's talking to your brain, because your brain knows that these things exist, but it might not know where everything is in your body. And that vagus nerve helps it to know where that is. So having that damage, it damages your whole gut, like from top to bottom, from your esophagus down to your asshole. So it's just like everything stops talking.
Yeah.
But then
So
it affects like other parts of you as well.
how do you stimulate that? And I was going to just say, for people that don't know, when she says UPMC is like the hospital system here in Pittsburgh, and like people literally come from all over the country for our UPMC. Like supposedly it's supposed to be that good. And like our children's hospital here in Pittsburgh is also really good. I know a lot of people come out of the country from that too. But yeah, UPMC is kind of like a big deal here in Pittsburgh. So if you didn't know what she meant by that, that's what she meant. It's like the healthcare services here in Pittsburgh, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah. But so how do you stimulate the vagus nerve? Like how do you stimulate it to get your brain knowing that you got food then and stuff like that?
So one of the things that I do is after I eat, I'm supposed to sit for 15 to 20 minutes and do diaphragmatic breathing, where you focus on just your diaphragm moving when you breathe. And you can put your hand on like right underneath your sternum and just focus on that. And some people will put it like underneath to make sure like this part's not moving or this part's not moving. And then you have to like really focus on it and think about the nerve itself and like visualize it running through. So that's one way. And that really does help. The other ways that I've been stimulating it is through Reiki, to try to get my chakras back into alignment and move the energy. And it's really, honestly, every time my friend Patrick does it on me, I can feel, so your stomach doesn't move. It's a paralyzed stomach, right? So like, I won't have digestive noises. They'll listen to my stomach and there'll be nothing there. So whenever he's doing Reiki, my stomach starts just waking up, just growling and grumbling and doing like all these like weird movements. It does also, outside of Reiki, go into spasms, like similar to when somebody has a paralyzed leg and that nerve's damaged, but all of a sudden it starts like twitching and moving around. Like my stomach will do that, where it'll just start like convulsing and pulsating. And that will stop during Reiki. And then, but the grumbling and everything goes as well. So, I mean, along with a few medications that help to open the sphincter at the bottom of the stomach to relieve the food, to just push it through the digestive tract. There's enzymes you can take that help the digestion itself and just kind of like reminds your stomach that, hey, there's things in here, and, and tricks it into trying to access that data point again.
I was going to tell you, I had a woman on earlier. She comes on my show a lot, actually. She's like an alternative health. She's not like allopathic. She's more like holistic. You know what I mean? But she uses an app called the Genius Biofeedback. And what this app is like you open it. I can even open it now. Like you open it and then you say like your voice into it for 15 seconds. You say A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, But then you also take your picture and then you hit next. And then what it does is it scans your picture and it'll scan your voice and it'll give you a printout of your auric field, whatever it's picking up from your aura. And then it'll give you a list of things that are literally wrong with you or that it thinks are wrong with you. And then you can take those things and put them into like a tray, not a physical tray, but a tray on the app, and then you hit run and it runs a frequency, and then this frequency plays. And, I used it when I had entity attachments. I was using it every day because it has like wind chime, like the frequency in it. It also has like wind chimes and stuff. So it was helping like take the entity, and it has a spiritual component too. Like you can use you can use, it has nodes, meridians, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
It
Yeah,
may,
I do use frequencies as well. Yeah, I utilize YouTube for that typically, but I will definitely check that out. I'm always open for, new possible ways that I can try to
well, you can
get
get
things
2 weeks
going.
for free too if you want. You can
Oh,
try it
nice.
for free for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's like
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
some people like it a lot. Some people are like, so
Yeah.
it just depends. But
Yeah, yeah. That's with everything though. Not everything
yeah,
works for everybody, right?
yeah. So how did you get into like art and like paganism and stuff like that? And like when did your spiritual journey begin?
Well, my spiritual journey, so I was very indoctrinated into the Methodist Church. Um, and that overlapped with my introduction into paganism. I was confirmed into the church. My pastor, luckily, we read the entire Bible, so it wasn't just like cherry picked. But I was there like 4 times a week. It was a lot. But in that time, I met a friend that her whole family was pagan, and this was back in the 90s. So it wasn't like as open, as big. I grew up in a dry county. It was very much Baptist run, Southern Baptist in Texas. But so I met her. She gave me a book, and it was Laurie Cabot's Power of the Witch. And then I got a book by Scott Cunningham, The Elements, Four Elements. And that was kind of it. I started reading through those, and it just clicked, where I saw a lot of things I didn't agree with in the church itself. Not that the study of Jesus or the Bible or anything like that, but it was just like the practices that were held by the people that claimed to be with the Bible. So it wasn't for me, you know what I mean? And I was always very much more nature based. I was that girl in the back making mud pies that were witches' brews before I knew what witches' brews were. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the introduction into that. And then when we finally had a New Age store open up in my very Baptist town that got so many protests against it, but there it stood strong. That allowed me to at least go in and talk to somebody else and kind of expand on that. And through years, it's been just, I meet certain people, they'll bring things into my life, read other books and kind of like explore that way. And the one Reiki teacher that I had when I first got sick, she was the one that introduced me to Amma and the Hugger priest, the Hugger goddess who is currently still alive in India, and then Guanyin. But Hecate is also in my pantheon as well. But I did start out Wiccan and then kind of turned more eclectic once I started to get a little more information, you know. As far as art, I always doodled. It was never a thing in high school. I didn't take any art classes. My only art class was, I think, in 5th and 6th grade, where I learned some techniques, but everything else was just me drawing on notebook paper at home. It wasn't until I was in college at 2021 that I really started diving into different techniques, different ways of making art, but never have I been actually classically trained. This is all like I see something and I'm like, that's cool. I want to make something similar. I like the techniques. I like the brush strokes. You'll look at some classical paintings and realize that their brushstrokes were very quick and not like super blended. And I was like, I like this style. And Salvador Dali was one of the people that really just hit with me and opened me up to the surrealism style where like, hey, I can draw faces that aren't attached. And that's like one thing that I really do. I love drawing faces, but like for whatever reason, they're just always disattached from the skull. I'll draw appendages that aren't attached at the elbow or, things like that. But it's it's just so healing for me, because even when I'm upset, I can't draw detail, but I can get onto a canvas and just make splatters and kind of take my emotions and block them onto a canvas to where it's just like strikes or, whatever. And I've even ripped canvases up during like times where it's just like such an emotional strain in my life because of one event or another, where I'm painting and then all of a sudden I just start stabbing the canvas. But I've then made those into usually nature-based ones, where I have one that I call put a band-aid on it, where I've stitched it back together and I duct taped it, and it's kind of like the way we treat nature now, between like the big corporations and the people that are trying to like keep our parks and keep everything, and then the big corporations that want to like come in and frack it, and but they're still putting band-aids on everything. It's like, yeah, we'll do this damage and we'll fill it back in, but then the ecosystem's completely wrecked in that area. So,
Yeah.
Or the water's been poisoned. And they're like, oh, we'll put a filtration system in and it'll kind of get out the mercury and it'll kind of get out the lead and, things like that. So that's where I'll usually take those that I've absolutely destroyed. But there was one that I made, I don't have it with me today, that I made after my stepsister committed suicide. And it was literally just me globbing paint onto it and just letting it run down, because I was just so absolutely devastated by her passing and how it happened. And, and so like the whole painting just looks a hot mess. But it's just like, that's what I felt. I felt like I was just like, all of this was just coming out of me and like vomiting itself onto the floor pretty much, because I didn't know how to handle her passing. I felt guilty that maybe I didn't reach out more, or how survivor's remorse happens like that, where you're just like, I could have said something, I could have done this, I could have done that, but like we really couldn't. Like we brought her home for 3 months and she chose to go back, and like what were we gonna do?
What happened? What happened?
She had an abusive husband. She had a very, very abusive husband, and she was having a meltdown in the car. He called, and they lived in North Carolina. We live in Pennsylvania. He called my brother, my stepbrother, and said, you need to come pick up your sister. I need to go to church. So my stepdad and him drove down, and he's like, I'm not dealing with her anymore. I'm not handling her. And there she was still in the car, like freaking out, saying that she was going to kill herself. And so like they gathered her up, they brought her back. She went back. He called her and was like, it's going to be my birthday. You need to come back. You blah, blah, blah. And so she went back, and in like 2 months, she hung herself. So.
Wow, I'm so sorry about that. That's I have a story where I have like a survivor's remorse, like where like one of my ex-girlfriends died back in 2010 when I was in like the throes of addiction, and she like came to me and like she wanted to be with me, and then I was in love with another woman, so like I introduced her to my friend Mike, and then he was like, I thought that she would be like good with him. But then, like, they ended up doing drugs, and she ended up having like an aneurysm in her brain. So they don't know if it was a drug overdose or that. But like, I obviously felt like, like I felt the same way. I felt like, man, if I would have just, I felt like if I would have did something different, maybe things would have been different. You know what I mean? So, and
right.
I don't know. But people tell me they're like, like you can't, like I don't know. It's
no, because I mean, you never know. That aneurysm could have been waiting, either way. So it could have been that was there, that would have been there from calls from smoking, drinking, heritage, anything like that. So, I mean, yeah, maybe the relationship didn't help it. Maybe the drugs didn't help it. But in the end, that might have been where she was going to be anyways, no matter like where she was in life.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's. I guess we're like really lucky in a way. I guess we should all have gratitude because we're not blind, we're not paralyzed. We're all healthy pretty much relatively right now.
Yeah.
A lot of us complain on. I'm not saying you do or I do. I'm just saying like a lot of people do. Like I do. I'll say I do. I'm not.
Oh, no.
But like I think maybe if we were all like more grateful for our lives, like because it could be like we're here as a chance. Like I believe in God and everything, but I'm like, what if this
Mhm.
is all some big experiment or something, or some simulation or something that, like, you know what I mean? It's like the mystery of life, and it's interesting for sure. I don't know.
Yeah. No, one of the so okay, there was two things I wanted to touch on that. One of the things, though, about you said about it being a simulation, something that is tossed around in paganism is we're meat sacks. We are spiritual beings in meat sacks. We have chosen to come down here and live this life to learn the lessons that we need to learn, and like we sign up for this. We're signing up, going, okay, I'm going to have like all these traumas, and even if there's somebody that is those spiritual bonds that you keep having over and over again, like where you meet somebody and it's like you've always known them, you know what I mean? There's times where like you'll sign up with them and be like, so you're going to be my abuser, I'm going to be the abused, we're going to go through this together, and we're going to figure it out, and we're going to learn these lessons, and then you go back into the afterlife and you heal there, and you talk to the other spirits that are there, and then you sign up to do it again, and you can reach a point of enlightenment where you've learned everything that you need to know, and then you go on to become whatever it is. I don't know the answer to what that is, but that's the generalized thing. And I actually saw something that was similar to this online, on a reel that was, but saying that it was a simulation and we're feeding a database, and we're assigned these lifetime situations. And I was like, oh, that's kind of what we believe. Oh, the other thing that I was going to say is, yeah, we are absolutely lucky to be alive, and we're absolutely lucky to not be maimed. And every morning I do wake up and give my gratitudes because of it. Because there's times where I'm like, I hate my life. And then you have to go, no, I don't actually hate my life. I hate this situation. This one that's happening right now is a challenge in my life that is going to teach me a lesson, but right now it sucks. And it's not a great situation, but it's trying to retrain your mindset so that you're not in a state of anxiety. And that ties into the vagus nerve, because if you're in a state of anxiety, your stomach's not going to, like, even if your vagus nerve isn't damaged, you're going to have an upset stomach. People don't eat, people overeat, they'll get whole gastro issues, just from being upset. So it's like I have to constantly remind myself, like, I'm still above the daisies. Every day that I wake up and I'm above the daisies is a good day that I can take time and get myself the hell out of the house, go for a walk, go out into the park, go to nature, do something besides, even if I schedule out my day, because I do play a tactical strategy game on my phone and it takes a lot of my time, but I'll be like, okay, I have 2 hours. I have 2 hours to this. And then after my 2 hours, I'm going to go out into the woods and I'm going for a hike, and I'll pick what trail that I'm going to be on, and, and I'll enjoy it. It's not for speed. It's for me to look at for mushrooms, because I love mycology. It's to try to identify, get better at identifying the trees or the birds or, whatever. And I take my time on my walk. So it does end up being like a 2 hour adventure. And then I'll come home and start painting or start trying to edit, because I'm trying to learn a new editing software. And when you don't know terminology, let me tell you, I'm like, I just want to do this thing. Like, what is that thing called? Because I don't know that. But yeah, so it really is. I get up every morning and I say my blessings. I thank my gods for what they have given me, and the little things, for my house, for being able to afford food, for having the things that I have, for having my creative talent, for being able to express emotion, even though that is difficult sometimes. I like to nesting doll my emotions into boxes and set them aside, especially the negative ones. And that also runs along with the vagus nerve, and trying to identify that and do my shadow work and make friends with your just uncomfortable spots, right? To make friends with them and to like really understand where they're coming from so that when they come up later, you can look at those and be like, it's okay. Like you don't have to be scared anymore. Whether you think that's your inner child, whether you think it's just your anxiety as its own entity. But if you talk to it, and I've actually named my brain. So when it starts in on the racing thoughts and like the super high emotions, I'm like, okay, Kate, it's a variant of my name, but like my mom, when she was upset with me, would always call me Kate. So I've now put it into training it to be a good thing. Like, hey, Kate, like we're okay. You really don't have to like freak out right now. Like we're gonna be okay. I know this situation's stressful, but like it's fine. It's fine. Can you calm down? And that has helped a tremendous amount because I am ADHD. So it's like so I have racing thoughts anyways, but sometimes those become very intrusive. Sometimes intrusive's funny. Other times it's, a pain in the ass. But yeah, so those are the things that have helped me. And it's really helped me with my art because with ADHD, sometimes you have that issue of getting started. Um, and it allows me to just click my brain into a zoned out sort of mode where I'm not thinking too hard about the project that I want to do, and I'm allowing it to be something that it wants to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, and maybe you could show some of your art later, like, or whenever you want to. I'd love to see it. Like, that's amazing. Like,
These are some of my abstracts.
you want to show them? Do you before we do the readings?
Sure. Yeah, and I got my portfolio here too to see like my portfolio and some watercolors. So let me actually show you.
I'm like always like I'm real like I admire art. That's amazing.
This is Rebirth. Those horns are all ink. That shading took me forever. It was like 4 days worth of shading.
Wow.
But I loved it every single second of it. Here's Anubis. These pages like to stick together. They're the bane of my existence. There's Anubis.
I love that.
Him well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's my stomach monster. Those of you on last time saw it. But there we are. There she is.
Wow.
There.
What's interesting about you said that, and I don't think I said this last time. They say that we can have entities in our organs. So that there's like some in the esoteric world. There's some truth to what you drew there. You know what I mean? Like there can actually be like there's a guy who actually says entities can get entangled in our organs.
Oh, I'm sure. And when I first got sick, and even now, I do a lot of things to remove negative energy, as well as like do the healing frequencies to try to combat that. Because I was like, I didn't know if I was getting psychic attacked. Like honestly, I was just like, who placed this on me? Because it just all started in 2019. Just all of a sudden I was sick one day and I was like, why am I so sick? And it took a year to get diagnosed. Here's my childhood trauma one.
Wow. That's cool.
But yeah, it's very, very different than my abstracts. But this one is my fox and I love it so much. It's so cute.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing.
My little playful fox. But yeah, so that's very much different. I have a couple abstracts here at the side. This is Matador.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that.
So with my abstracts, I put thick varnish on it because a lot of times it has texture and I want people to touch them. And so like then if they're museum bound or even at home, you can get somebody to remove the varnish and re-varnish it so that it doesn't damage the actual painting. But yeah, it's like there's wonderful texture in it. And with my abstracts, I would intentionally pick paints that like the titanium white is heavy. this light is changing. I'm gonna have to throw on my overhead light. This is Purple Afternoon at 4:05, and it's got a face in it. But again, the wonderful texture. But like the titanium white will sink, and it causes, so if you paint everything else and then pour the titanium white that's watered down on it, it gets that wonderful like webbing speckled effect. It's beautiful. And then I do like silly things like blue Cavendish bananas.
That's cool. I like that.
But the ones that I actually have hanging up back here, I have my female Joker, because I am working on a whole gender bending Batman series. I'm just getting the Two-Face one set up. Let me get my overhead light on real quick. There we go. This one is 3 paintings in one because it's glow in the dark, UV reactive, and then regular. But
wow,
she's
that
big.
is so cool. Wow.
She was so fun to paint. I absolutely love her. This one was actually inspired by Sarah Green had So You're an Artist book that came out, and it featured other artists and how they do their specific style. And this one artist said to take a picture, zoom in on one part of the picture, and make it 3D and add a bunch of filters to it first, and then try to recreate that. So you like take a small piece of a picture and completely warp it, right? So like this is made out of like air dry clay. You can see there at the side, it's very, very textured. But that one was a lot.
I kind of like that texture. That texture is really cool, you know? Like it makes me want to
touch it, right? And I encourage touching. Well, at least on my paintings, not so much on me.
Well,
we got trauma. But this is my beta.
When you touch like the paintings and stuff, like you get an energy from them. You know, that's what I meant. Like when I touch things, I get energy from it. You know, it's weird. Right. Like I like that with crystals, rocks. Like even like you know, like when I was a kid, my grandmother had one of those weird couches, and I would get a weird feeling off that the touch of it. You know what I mean? Like you know, so like I get like different sensations from touching things. I don't know how to explain it. Like I think it's like it's one of the clairs, but I can't remember which one. You know.
No, absolutely. But I forget the name of the clairs. I'm going to be honest. I'm just like, oh, I have the clair where I can smell things. You know, this one's tied up, but this is Naiad. I don't know how well you can see that from back there, but it's like a portal with water lily here at the bottom. But yeah. So that's a few of them. I have tons and tons. If you check out my Instagram, I mean, I've pretty much been on Instagram since the beginning of Instagram, so there's a lot. And I'm going to be, a lot of these used to hang in various shows down in Harrisburg with the Art Association. I usually had like 1 to 3 of the community exhibitions going at any given time. So I have a ton of paintings, and I will be reposting them now on Instagram to try to sell a lot of these.
Wow, that's awesome. So do you want to start? I guess we could start with the readings now. And we got someone who donated. Slavka donated. And you guys can donate if you want. You're not obligated to. You don't have to. But I want to, if Kat's going to do readings, I want to be able to pay her at the end of the night, which I will no matter what. But, it helps if you do donate. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. And then if you guys want to donate, you feel free. And Slavka was first. So I guess. And then I saw Karen Rosovich. You said you wanted a reading because, you guys don't have to donate. You can just put your name in the chat if you want a reading. And we'll, it's just for fun. And thank you, Slavka. And let me see here. I'm putting it in the chat. And what kind of cards are you using tonight? Are you using cards? Or?
Yes. So I am using the Everyday Witch Tarot by Deborah Blake. This is one of my favorite decks. And then I do have the Wisdom of Oracle um, deck as well. That's this one. These are oracle cards and not tarot. And then I did actually pull out my Ascended Masters, which is, these are everybody. We got Jesus, Buddha, Apollo, all of them.
That's cool.
So it's, and they all have various different messages as well. And I just felt, called, like maybe we'll go pull a few of them as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I'll pull up Slavka's one of her messages here, and this is her. So this is who you're tapping into. She's from Czechoslovakia, Slavka. And let me see if she had a question. She says she'd love a reading, and then she says thanks a lot. So maybe I think a general reading, whatever you're picking up. Okay. Or should I ask her if she has a question?
Sure.
Okay. So if you have a question, Slavka, you can put it in the chat now. And would you rather them ask a question or?
I mean, that honestly, they can ask a question or I can do a general reading. It's either.
Okay. So I'm just waiting to see if she has a question. Nothing yet. She says general, whatever comes through. I'll put that up on the screen.
Okay. All right. So we had 3 jump out right away. We have the 4 of Swords. Let's see that.
That's so cool. It's a nice card.
The Queen of Wands.
Wow, that's a beautiful card. Holy shit. That's a really nice card.
And then the Hierophant.
Oh, cool.
All right. So we got a situation here where the 4 of Swords are all usually about the harder emotions, the more stern things in life. And then Wands come in with the higher emotions, and then we have the Hierophant. So there may be something that, if you look at this card, she's just laying there, kind of taking a second for herself to really grieve. But with this, the 4 of Swords, you can get lost in your grieving. You can take it a little bit too far to reflect back on things and then pretty much announce yourself dead. It's kind of more or less how that plays out sometimes. So there may be something in the background that is, I don't want to say a self-sabotaging feeling, but just maybe needing a second to lie down, rest, regroup. Because after that, we have the Queen of Wands and the Hierophant. That Queen of Wands is really living your best life, right? She's coming up, she's gained all this information. It's a very emotionally mature card. So, and then followed by the Hierophant after that, that's a teacher position. That could reflect as an actual teacher. It could also be that you're teaching yourself how to react to situations. So there may be something going on in your life that you're having a hard time handling. But if you step back and actually give yourself time to do that shadow work, give yourself time to do that grieving over, maybe it was a loss, a situation in your, your living situation, possibly there might be some employment calls for it because we do have that Hierophant position as well. Um, but there also might be that self doubt. So if it is related to a job situation, maybe you're looking at doing a promotion where you'll be in a higher position. Um, you might want to take it. Like it really shows that if you just step back and go, okay, I can do this. Like I have these skills, I have this set of knowledge that I can bring into the world and I can share, you'll level up. Like you'll level up spiritually, you'll level up in your self esteem, and then you'll be ready to take on whatever that task is and really put yourself forward in taking on that like more leadership teacher position. But I do want to pull an oracle card on this as well. So
That was great. That was a really in-depth reading. I thought that was amazing.
and we have the Fates. This is such a pretty card. Look how gorgeous she is. This like little sparkly star fairy. I love her so much. The Fates. So this, whatever's going on, you might be like, it may end, like I said, end up being like a job thing where you're really seeing your calling come through. And it might be time to listen more to your intuition. And like I said earlier, maybe calm some of the back voices in your head to settle that down and be like, hey guys, we're going to be all right. We can do this. We got this. Whatever it is, the fates are pulling through for you. That universe is saying you need to do these things. So,
wow.
yes.
That was amazing. I love that. Yeah, I hope that resonated with you, Slavka, and I'll get the next one. I know Karen said she wanted a reading because I saw Kelly donated. We'll get to Kelly next, and then but we'll do Karen first because Karen asked for a reading at the beginning of the show. So Karen Rosevenge is next, and Karen, if you have a question, put it in the chat, and we'll get to your question. And thank you for donating earlier, Karen. Karen donated earlier in my last show, so yeah.
Oh well, thank you for that. It really helps out. Rob's got his trip coming up that he's trying to go through, and he's kind and splits all donations with me. So,
yeah,
it really helps out him. It really helps out. Hopefully, he'll be able to broadcast from the convention that makes it down there.
I'm hoping
a couple of days, right on the 10th.
Yeah, I know. I'm really like I've been going through like a bad crash diet, like trying to lose as much weight as possible because like I realize I'm gonna have to
tell. You look thinner in your face and shoulders. So
you think?
You said you had. Yeah, I do think. Yeah,
I lost like 16 pounds.
This is. Yeah, it really shows in your face. Like you've lost a lot of the roundness, and your jaw's starting to get cut again. Good job.
Wow. Thanks. I appreciate it. That makes me feel good. I mean,
it's very noticeable.
Well.
So we got some good cards here. So I'm gonna guess that this is probably job based. Honestly, either job based or a passion project. We got the Three of Cups, which is very much a celebration card, but it also is the three phases of the maiden, the mother, and the crone. We have then the Two of Pentacles, which is very much about balance and balancing finances. And then we have the Five of Wands, which is a bunch of witches bickering, right? Like no one can agree on what's going in that pot. And so the pot's overflowing, the witches or the cats at the bottom are bickering, there's a fire being set, so it seems like that's a bad card. However, it might just mean that there needs to be a little more open communication. So whatever the project is, whether that's like a passion project or a job project, it might be a little of both depending on what your job is. And it even could be, honestly, maybe inheritance, or possibly a family reunion, with all of the collective of people. But then there's the Two of Pentacles in the middle that's really saying, you need to find that balance. Like, don't go overboard with this project, but don't cut yourself short either. Like, you want to find the balance between putting enough into the project without sacrificing too much and without going overboard. So, like, say, I'll reference to myself. Like, whenever I have a show coming up that I'm going to do a festival or a fair, and I make prints, right? I don't want to go, okay, it's a big fair, so I'm going to make like 5,000 prints. No, I should make like maybe collectively over all of my prints, maybe like 200 or 300 if it's going to be like a whole weekend show. And if I sell out, I sell out. You know what I mean? So there's the opportunity to have a lot of harmony with whatever this passion project is. But we do have to look out to make sure that we're not bickering over things. So if there is bickering, maybe it's up to you to try to find that middle ground, and calm the masses and be like, hey, we need to figure out how to work together. I don't need to be the one that's being like stubborn and not pushing anything. Let's come to a compromise. So this isn't always about like so much just bickering, but the need to compromise. So, and the women in the thing, even though they represent the mother, the maiden, and the crone, or I'm sorry, yes, I just said it out over there. It can represent older women. So we had By the Book come out of the Oracle deck. Is that cute with those little elephants trudging across but it's very much a family thing and working together. Right? So like you can go by the book with whatever is going on. So whatever task is at hand, whatever, like I said, it could be inheritance, it could be the passion project, it could be a family function. But I do think it very much has to do with either a group of friends or a family situation, just because of how much of the collections that are going on here. So we may have to look at things and try to, if possible, if there's some sort of guidelines that you can follow for what's happening, maybe try to put some steps in place. And that might happen to help the bickering that's happening. So, yes.
I love that. That was great. I hope that resonates with you, Karen. That was amazing. And this next person is Kelly. Now, Kelly's from Pittsburgh. I told her, I said, I was just texting her now. I said, I'd like to introduce you and Kat because you guys are both from Pittsburgh. I mean, I know you're not originally from Pittsburgh, Kat, but you're in Pittsburgh now, right. And Kelly's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And you guys might get along, But anyway,
nice.
This is her profile.
I'm always down for friends.
Yeah, and she let me see if she had a question. I'll see what she said in her donation thing here. Kelly, do you have a question? I just wanted to put this up real quick. Karen said, "Cool." She said, "Thanks, Kat." Totally, from Karen.
Okay, great. I'm glad that resonated with you.
So I'll put Kelly's back up now, and here's Kelly, and she says, and that was nice of Kelly. She donated. She donated twice because she said, since we're splitting the money tonight, that was really nice of her. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
This girl is like an angel. She's a really good-hearted person. She really is. She merely means well, and like she wants the best for everybody. She's just a good-hearted person. I don't know how to explain it.
We like good-hearted people.
So how long have you been here in Pittsburgh, and do you like it so far?
Me?
Yeah.
So August 10th on my birthday will be 1 year. I love it, actually. Like, I really, really love it. I love all the bridges. I love all of the parks that happen like in and around the city. I love the Three Rivers. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just really, 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 really enjoy it here. I've met some awesome people. I've been able to go to some fantastic shows. I had loved Harrisburg. Like I said, I was in the Harrisburg area for about 6 years. Um, I lived in York for about that same time. I lived in Maryland for 2 years. I grew up pretty much in Germany and then Texas. I lived in New Hampshire. So I've lived kind of a lot of places. This honestly is my favorite. I can get to anywhere in Pittsburgh within roughly minus during rush hour, because God knows that's ridiculous. But outside of rush hour, about 30 minutes. So to me, growing up in Texas, where everything is at least 30 minutes to an hour away, that's not anything. And I'm willing to drive that to be able to get to like my favorite places. So I really like it. I like it a lot.
And you went to when I talked to you the other day, you said you were going to a hip hop opera, like, and
Opera,
I'm looking at
Babatunde.
your
Oh
like,
my
tell us about
God.
it. Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. I love Babatunde. I have been following him forever. He was on America's Got Talent or American Idol or something like that, doing the hip hop opera. He calls it hip opera. Um, he got famous because of that sort of thing, that he did a recording in his car and then just started making more music. And the passion that he goes behind it and just the beats that he puts to it, because he doesn't divert much from, he is a trained opera singer. He's a very successful opera singer. And so like he doesn't go far off, honestly, from the beats that are in the original operas. And if y'all don't know, operas aren't really snubby stuff. Yeah, they were written by aristocrats, but it is the Real Housewives of like the 1500s, there's a lot of drama that happens in them. There's a lot of like people sleeping with wives, and just like, guys that come back from battles and they're like, yes, everybody congratulate me. That's what like the Figaro, everybody's like, yay. And he doesn't really need it. So yeah. And there's even one where, was it Mozart? I have to look up the actual song, but it goes up and down. And he wrote it specifically because he did not like this one opera singer at the time, because she threw her head back with the high notes and would slam her head down with the low notes. So he wrote that opera so that she went like this the whole time. And I was like, the pettiness. it's just wonderful. Like, so if you know the backstory of opera, it's actually very funny stuff.
That's so cool. And is it like
Yeah.
hip hop though? Would you say it's like,
Yeah, it's hip hop beats that he's singing opera to. But
okay.
it's a lot of opera, like, honestly has almost hip hop beats in it. So if you listen to the actual beats of it, it's like, and you can take that and then twist it only slightly to give it like a hip hop sound. So
Yeah.
it is very much, yeah. I have a couple of clips on my my Instagram. So if you go to Veiledartist, I think it's like only 2 or 3 posts back. There are a few of his audio clips on there from me filming at the show, and it's just so amazing. He's such a sweet guy, and we got selfies together, and I was so happy, so happy. And I tried very hard not to fanboy on him. And when he asked me my name, I was like, my name, right, Cat. I was like, I turned so awkward because I was trying to be like not fanboying on him. What I wanted to do was like, oh my God, I love you so much. But yeah, we have to.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So we got some cards here. We got all cups and pentacles. So first off, we have the Ace of Cups, which is very much abundance. Abundance floweth over. You're willing to, let me see if I can get my face out of it. You want to focus on that? Nope, we're not going to. Okay. But she's pouring her cup's running over and pouring onto the ground and growing a plant there. So it's like she has so much that she can give her overflow, that she can give back to the earth, to the community. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which is very much about teamwork. Like everybody's putting their part in to make this piece of art. So that can do a few things. That can be teamwork in a project. That can be teamwork in an art project. It can be with a work project as well. But it's a lot of times comes up with being artist based. There is the Four of Pentacles that warns you not to hoard. So it's like you want to keep your money and you don't want to spend it frivolously, but you don't also want to sit on it and worry about it, that it's just like not going to be enough because you have that abundance. You have that team behind you that's working with you. Then that could even be your spirit team. Or it could be your partner. And this, the Two of Cups, doesn't represent like lovers. It can, but it doesn't have to. It can be more of a business venture because you see that they're there cheersing, they're celebrating whatever it is that they're working on together has been successful. So this could be work related. It could be a passion project again, or it could just be something that's going on in your life that maybe you were trying to relook at finances in order to go possibly on a trip. Because we do have the beach there in the background and the countryside happening. So maybe you're, going to be going possibly abroad with some friends and it needs to like everybody join in on that. It could be a project where you're having to travel. And maybe that Four of Pentacles is coming in saying, maybe don't stay at the lowest hotel, but, step it up a notch. I don't know why, but bed bugs came into my mind. We always got to watch for that. And sometimes at them lower hotels, we get those sort of things. So, there may be a situation also where you're working in charity. So that could be what this is coming across as well with the cup running over. There's, multiple people working together and being successful in that. And then with the anti-hoarding card. So there might be some charitable situation that's happening where, maybe you'll be able to get some people to have a little bit of a loose pocket to give to the cause to get whatever that project is up and running and off of the ground, and so that it can benefit those who need it. And there may be travel with that too. I don't know. I'm like, we didn't get the chariot card or a page card, but like, I just feel as if there's some travel related situations.
She said, "Thank you so much." And anything else coming up for her?
You're welcome. Higher power in the Oracle deck. This is pretty. It's very ethereal.
That is nice. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So maybe with the higher power card, like if you were doing the charitable situation, maybe it's church related. Maybe it's something that, there's the higher ups are co-signing with whatever it is that your endeavor that you're going into. Okay.
Okay. We'll go to the next next person. Let's see here. The next person is Aaron Clem. And see here, and this is Aaron. And thank you for donating, Aaron. Good to see you. And Aaron says, Rob, I believe in you, and I know you'll make it to the conference. Much love. Oh, so but do you have do you have a question uh, for as far as like a reading, Aaron? Like, let me see. And by the way, Kelly says that was super nice. Her reading.
Super nice. I got the chat up this time. I got that functioning now.
Oh.
I can see the chat.
So I'll put back up Aaron's avatar here. Yeah, I think you have to just log in on your YouTube when you're a guest, right? I think if you log in with your YouTube, then you can you're streaming it to your channel too. That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Like,
yeah, I figured out how to stream it to my channel, so that was nice. Yeah, it's actually, well, I think I could have gotten it up. I was on my iPad the last time, and I think I could have got it up, but it was malfunctioning or something. But now it was just available at the side, and I was able to get it up, and so I can actually see what's going on and see who's having chats.
Yeah, this is cool.
Okay. So we got the Seven of Pentacles, which is a lady harvesting grapes and just enjoying her cup of wine, has a book out there. And then we have the Seven of Cups, which is about decision making.
Dude, that card is beautiful. That's amazing. Your card, I can see you being an artist having like the most beautiful cards, like, you know, like that makes sense. Like, I remember the cards you used last time were really amazing too. Do you collect decks?
So yes and no. I have not personally bought any, but I have been gifted a lot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I think an orb just went
10 tarot decks.
I think an orb just went behind you. I'm not even kidding you. We'll have to look at that later. Someone timestamped that 102, if someone can, around 101:59 or 102. If anybody else saw that, let us know. Sorry about that, but like,
no, that's okay. I don't doubt it. But yeah, I have 10 or 11 tarot decks and I think 6 oracle decks. But my wonderful friends and family saw them and thought of me and decided to give them to me. So yeah, I have not actually purchased any of my own. I have been very blessed in being gifted with them.
Did you ever think about people? A lot of people do readings on like TikTok too, and people are really successful on there. And like they don't do it with like an intermediary like me, like that. Like where me, I have people come on my show and do readings, but like on TikTok, they control everything themselves. They'll do the readings, and then they're also controlling the chat, and they're getting but like it can be like you can do well on there. You know what I mean? Like people do. I want to do readings.
I have not considered it, but it's not off the table.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people on TikTok. It's like they say that's the place you want to be, but like, for me, I just can't seem to get going on there. I only have like 7 or 800 subscribers. Like I post videos sometimes.
You have more than me. I think I'm Cat Monster Art on TikTok as well, and I think I might have like 34 followers. So, I mean, if you guys want to, you can go there. I think I have like 5 posts.
I'm looking for people to start doing lives with on TikTok. Like, because I can't do it with StreamYard because I can't connect TikTok to StreamYard. So I would have to do it like just a straight up live on TikTok. But I would do that.
I'm always down for doing streams. I don't know. They're a whole lot of fun. So let's get to this reading. We have a lot of abundance. We have that 6 of Cups. I don't think I actually talked about it. The 6 of Cups is about helping out, charity work, giving back to others, and also teaching. Like you see the older person here in a greenhouse giving the younger person a plant, most likely telling them how to grow it. We also have the Seven of Pentacles at the beginning. So there may be something with a garden going on here. I don't know if you have like a community garden that you're involved in or your personal garden. Um, but there's also something happening here with decision making. So there we have the abundance card. Like both cards on either side of the decision making are full of abundance. She's harvesting her crops. She has her wine that she's been making out of her grapes. The cat's happy in the background playing. We have on the other side in a greenhouse sort of situation, sharing the plants and the knowledge of the plants. But then in the middle, she's in a shop trying to choose her destiny. Like she's got the choice of love and a house and knowledge and alchemy and herbology, and she just can't make up her mind. So maybe there's a calling, possibly in your own practice, to maybe embrace your green thumb a little more. I'm not sure if that resonates, if you have a green thumb or maybe you have a black thumb and it's like nature's calling out going, maybe you should learn about us a little more. But there definitely seems to be a place of abundance that can very much take hold, but there's a decision that you have to make to just hold down the fort on that decision and try to like buckle down and maybe focus in on a particular thing. Because if you're like me and you are a person with 1,000 hobbies, sometimes I have to call myself back and be like, okay, we need to refocus. I have like 18 projects going on. I'm all over the place. We have to, the garden needs tended and the things need canned. And I also have like 5 art projects. So like it might just be a call to refocus on your abundance, on your passion, and just really dive head first into it and like absorb yourself into one or two things, because we do have like both are dealing with plants, both are dealing with growing, like one's growing flowers, one's growing grapes. So there, like I said, there might be some sort of garden situation involved or working at a greenhouse, possibly. But yeah, definitely possibly something that's going on in your life where you've just been a little indecisive, and it's time to make a decision so that you can really just bathe in your abundance. We got building blocks. So I wish it would focus a little more. So sad. So the building blocks is the foundation cards, which makes a lot of sense. Like if you're going to be refocusing in on a project, refocusing in on something that's a passion of yours, that you need to make a decision, you need that stability and that structure to build on. So whatever it is, whatever's going on, that will give you the chance to really set up and put down your roots to grow your abundance from. Yes.
That's amazing.
I do hope that resonates.
Yeah, that was great. I'll move on to the next one. The next one is Maya Starfire, and
real quick, she says that that is where she struggles, having many passions and not sure what to do, what she loves more. Yep. So maybe with this, you can just make a list to not so much prioritize one over the other, but maybe take it in seasons. Right now it is the gardening season. So if you have a lot of passions that have to do with outside, with going out and touching grass, with gardening or growing flowers or making flower arrangements, maybe focusing on that. And then during the winter months, work on more paintings, work on more knitting things that are cozy and comforting and, that sort of thing. And just kind of like shift with the seasons. That might be a little helpful for you.
Yeah, I like that. She said yes. Thank you so much. It's these are really resonating with people. So this is great. Like you're doing amazing. You know, I'm trying to find a good comment from Maya Starfire. She says, well, I mean, okay. Okay,
My
here she
Starfire.
is. Yeah, she says,
I see.
hello,
Yep.
beautiful souls. And thank you for donating, Maya. And she says, let me see what she says. She says in her PayPal message, just read. She just says reading, so maybe just general, whatever you
Just
picked up.
general. Okay. Let's see what we have for her. Whoa!
Something flew out.
Just flew out. The Queen of Pentacles, which is the all dominant. She is the Queen of Abundance. But not only that, like, she's a protector. She's got a horde of kittens, so it's very much not only just financially based, but family based. Um, she's very set up, very happy, and with her bounty that's around her, she has apple trees and grapevines. She has a chest of gold. She's in a wonderful old wooden chair with all the kittens at her feet. And then we have the Fool card. The Fool card is not so much always about being a fool, but a new adventure, busting out into the world and having that childlike enthusiasm in what you're doing. Because let's face it, there's tasks that we do that if we don't try to face it with childlike enthusiasm, it becomes a task and we're just dragging through it. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because we do have a Tower card. Now, Tower cards are about a destruction of a situation, but do not look at it as a bad thing. This is an opportunity for change, for rebirth, for the destruction of a bad situation, for being able to pull toxicity out of your life. Because we have these two other cards that are just like, you're about to go on some sort of journey, but like you got that abundance happening. Like there's not going to be fear in this. You might have some fear because it's going to be a big situation. Tower moments are big situations. They are not subtle changes. They are solidly, that tower is getting blown the fuck up. But there's always, like, if you look at this witch, she did it. You know what I mean? She was the one that did it. She was like standing there smirking with that wand on her face. She was like, you know what? This had to go. It was ugly anyways. Like whatever it was ugly. It needed to go. I'm just going to rebuild another one. And that's really how tower moments should be looked at, and not so much just like, oh, my relationship's falling apart. Well, were you really happy in the first place? Was that really where you wanted to be? Like, did you have just an emotional attachment because of a trauma? I don't think this particularly might have to do with lovers. But definitely that Fool is like, you're going to be going on an adventure. There's flying birds in the background. There's a ship that's there. There's something that you're going to have to look at with childlike enthusiasm, because at the other side, you are going to have some solid abundance from that lesson that is learned, from that thing that you have given up and taken out of your life, whether that is a job situation. Yeah, I wanted to get a little more clarity on that. And we got the Six of Pentacles. She is so abundant that she can help students and the homeless alike. Like, she is just living the dream and being a glorious person from it, and sharing her wealth and sharing her knowledge. And, whatever it is that tower moment that is quite possibly happening or maybe happening in the near future, take it and learn from it, and know that it's going to be better on the other side. It is going to be so, so much better on that other side. Like, there's no doubt about that. The universe is coming through, and if you don't sit there and wallow and, whatever it is that you just can really just eat it up and take it home. And I said home, and this is no place like home. So it's a pretty card. It's a really pretty card, actually. Getting a glare. So, there may be something that's going on at home. We got two cards stuck together, milk and honey, which is an abundance card as well. So that was stuck to the no place like home. So possibly something's going on that you may get an abundance from, but might be a tower moment within the home. Or, or the home might be your sanctuary, and it might be where you go to get your milk and honey, where you can come back to get away from your tower moment, to really refocus, recenter, rejoice your abundance, give thanks for the blessings that you have received, and know that that tower moment is going to be okay. Like, it's a cleansing. It's not an end all be all destructive moment. It is a cleansing of your aura so that you can just be a carefree person. Yes.
Wow, that was amazing. That was a really amazing reading. Okay, so that was all the donations. Does anybody else want a reading? You can put your name in the chat now. Because I mean, do you still have a couple minutes? Do you want to do more, or do you want to call?
Yeah. I mean, that's completely up to you. Where we at? Yeah, like I'm good to go for longer. If anybody wants more readings, by all means, just say so, and I'll be glad to do a reading for anybody. Joyful said she does.
Joyful Jennifer, she's amazing. She's a really good friend of mine. She's awesome. Yeah, I love the name too. But my phone just went to an update. Like, so I gotta, if anybody donates or something, I guess I'll check my email here on my computer. But I mean, yeah, just let me know in the chat. Yeah, but thank you everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, my phone just started updating on its own. Like, I hate when it does that.
I hate when it does that. It's like I hit remind me later, and then like after a minute, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it.
I have the Pixel 8, or I like it's supposed to be a really good phone for pictures, but it's okay. It's like I've got some interesting things. I got a really good light. There was a weird lightning storm here, like on Friday. I think it was Friday. It was, yeah.
It was glorious. Oh, I was driving back from the show, and it was just dancing across the highway, and it was so pretty, just so pretty. It was like,
you saw that
rainbows. I have crystals that hang in my window, so we're gonna have some rainbows on my face, so that they reflect the light and paint my room with little rainbows.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that was a weird that was doing that. I couldn't believe that. Like, I've never seen anything. I thought it was like UFOs or something for a second, but I guess it was just lightning. Like, I mean,
yeah, it was magical. Like, and it wasn't even. It was almost like heat lightning that we used to get back in Texas, where there was like no thunder, but it was just like huge lightning bolts streaking across the sky and like coming down and forking 800 times, and it was great. Jennifer, what is going on? What? Okay, girl. So we have some cards here that are slightly concerning. So I want to know, like, what's happening here for you. So we have the Three of Swords, which is kind of the heartbreak card, but also a bit of, whoop, that was loud. A bit of, I don't want to say delusion, crying over spilled milk kind of thing. Some kind of like heartbreak is happening. We have the ink spilling. We have the journal out. She's got 3 daggers stabbed into the box of candy at the side. We also have the 5 of Swords, which is a bit of a bickering card, but it's also, it's like this one's doing really well with whatever she wanted to do, but then these other 2 people over here are upset about what she's doing. So it's that needing to work together. The Eight of Swords, we have all swords, by the way. So, like, there's some emotional hitting going on. We have the Eight of Swords where you're just feeling surrounded, like there's not a way out, but there is because it's just swords around you. It's not a whole cage, right? At You don't know that you can get out. You're not aware that it's not a trapped situation because there's blindfolds and binds on you. But if you started to feel around lightly, you would feel that there's gaps. You would feel that there's something sharp that you could cut your binds and unblind yourself. And then we have the Nine of Swords as well, which is what I call the woe is me card. There's a sunshine out there. There's a bird, singing in the windowsill, but she's choosing to look down. She's choosing to not embrace the situation. So I'm not sure if there's maybe a death in the family that happened. Um, that there might be some bickering going on internally with that, and you feel like very maybe caught in the middle of things. It could be job related as well, but I feel like this is either a friend group or a family situation where maybe you're taking on too much of everybody else's emotions. Like extended family. Okay. Yeah. Where you're taking on too much that isn't your burden, that's not yours to carry. Like, you don't have to feel trapped in a situation because of other people's bickering. I'm going to get a little clarity on how we can take a look at this. And I'm very sorry that this is going on for you. But like, I just got that like feeling in my heart where it just feels like it's clenched. Like you like want to help, you want the things to go right, but like then you also feel a sadness.
You're amazing at tapping in, Kat. You really are. You're really.
Well, thank you. We got the Page of Swords. Let me see here. Whoop. Oh, okay. We got a lot of swords up in this, and then we have finally a major arcana. We got the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is adventure. He is confident in what he's doing, even though he has no idea about it, right? Like, he is very young. He is going out on his first adventure. He has his books and his scrolls and his broom ready, and his cat's there by his side, also with the confidence. Maybe you need to have some delusional confidence in like whatever's going on, because that's what the pages always are, right? They have that young, because we all did that, right? Everybody in, I don't know how old you are, but everybody in their 20s has that delusional confidence. They're like, I'm ready to take on the world. I know what I'm doing. You need a little bit of that. Because the Hangman's here. The Hangman is, you look like you're tied up, but he's honestly got the key. So he's chilling out. He's allowing the things to happen. He's letting his captors leave. And then he's going to bust out his tools and get out. So it's like you're in the situation where you're feeling trapped. You're feeling like it's just a bit too much for you. But there's relief. If you come up with your confidence, if you come up with like holding your own and having a voice in the matter that is not angry, because that page is confident that he can take on the challenges, but he's not going to be arrogant. And then we also have the Knight of Swords, which that Knight of Swords is him and the crows are going in and battling whatever it is. So maybe you need to call upon your ancestors for whatever the strength is. Young at heart, yep. So you need to call upon that inner strength, call upon your ancestors or whoever it is that you typically pray to, whether that's like a spirit animal, whether that's Saint Michael or Archangel Michael or whatever your religious practice is, right? But call upon them for your strength. Call upon them for your ability to get through these situations and to keep a calm, clear head, and go in with confidence that it's going to be okay. There is a way out, and you don't have to take on those burdens.
Wow.
I ditched the anger finally. Wonderful.
She says they can't handle my growth. They degraded. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That happens sometimes. And yeah, but your ancestors are on your side. Like, they're definitely there. They're rooting for you. They're like, hey, you need to grow. Sometimes in order to grow, you have to leave things behind. Not everything moves forward. Some things die, So, I'm very sorry that you're going through that situation. And I'm sorry. It is always hard when you have to step back and put boundaries on people. But it definitely seems like a situation where we're going to need to set up a little more boundaries.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
My ancestors are helping me. I'm glad you're making the right steps on that. So that's good to hear.
That was amazing that you were able to tap in like that, Kat. Like that's it's really impressive. Like when did you first start realizing that you were like really psychic? Like when did you first start realizing? Like when did it?
Oh, that was pretty early, actually. These are pants, guys. They just have slits on the sides, just so you know you're not going to get flashed every time I rearrange myself. That was actually pretty early. So I want to say high school, I really started having intuitive dreams and just getting gut feelings. Like if my friends and I, it was the 90s. We could do a lot of shenanigans because there weren't anybody to record us. But if we were going to go off and do shenanigans and I had a bad feeling, I would not go. Like, I'd just be like, no, I'm not going. I'm not driving. You guys need to find someone else to do it. I don't have a good feeling. And some of them actually would trust me and be like, no, we're not going to go have that party out on that land. Because in Texas, everybody has huge ranches. And sometimes we would have parties on other people's lands.
Yeah.
Because, country. Or, whatever the shenanigans was. But I had like a strong intuitive feeling like I shouldn't. And I have done some raucous stuff and gotten away with all of it. Nothing too illegal, but definitely like at a young age could have gotten me in trouble. And then there were the dreams. I dreamed the one time, this isn't just one example, but I was engaged to this guy from 16 to like right before my 20th birthday. I actually moved from Texas to New Hampshire with him. He was a soldier in the military. He was like 18 or 19 when I met him. So like the age gap wasn't big. And in Texas, 14, you're able to get married and you're considered legal to move out at 16. So like dating ages don't really follow the national standard.
Oh, when I was 22, I dated, my girlfriend was 18 and we were together for 8 years after that. So I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so he cheated on me with my best friend. And I had a dream that night about it. The night that it was happening. I literally called him as soon as I woke up the next day and I was like, is she there? And he's like, yeah, I cheated on you last night with her. And I was just like, okay, cool. I saw it. That was disgusting. Fuck off. We ended up reconciling, like, I think after he got the shits of her after like a week or two and came back. And, I was young, dumb, and stupid. And really stupid. But I ended up taking him back, which it just repeated itself. And I had another dream. And then I had a third dream. And after the third dream, I was just like, I'm done. I was in New Hampshire and I was like, hey, what am I going to do here? And then I ended up moving to Pennsylvania because I had family that lived here. And I was like, let's go live in PA. It'll be an adventure. I don't have to drive all the way back to Texas. But yeah, so that that was kind of where that was. And then I would get just like visions of things where things would come across my head. I had a lot of deja vu. Um, and I didn't get really into tarot card reading until I want to say like maybe 2000. Was it during the pandemic? It might have been right before the pandemic, like maybe 18 or 19. My sister gifted me a boatload of tarot cards that I don't know, she just decided that I needed them. And I was like, oh, I've been wanting to get into tarot reading. I haven't really done it. And so I dove headfirst into it and absolutely loved it. Something I do want to get into is like ruins and pendulum reading
Yeah,
as well. Um, but I also have the scent clairvoyancy, um,
clairsentience.
clairsentient. There you go. Um, I I haven't figured out who or what it is, but I smell. Does anybody remember Baby Soft perfume from the 80s, early 90s? That stuff was.
I
It
don't
smelled like
remember that.
baby powder. It smelled like baby powder. It was. I don't like. I mean, maybe some people like the smell of baby powder and want to smell like that, but I did not like it. My aunt sent us a bottle. None of us really used it. Um, but even while that aunt was alive, it started in my one apartment down in York. I started smelling it. In that same apartment, my phone all of a sudden, it was like the flip phone, all of a sudden broke where the screen went completely gray, and in a darker gray, there was a screaming face. In the same week, our ceiling cracked, like our wall cracked from like the side all the way up. We had stuff fall off the walls. So like my roommate, who was not superstitious, was like, "You need to cleanse this place. Like, what is going on here?" It was an old firehouse that we had moved into. It was converted into apartments. So there was something definitely hanging around there, and the baby powder is not associated with the screaming face in my phone, which I believe was associated then with the cracking and things, because I think we did get rid of that or allowed that energy to pass on. But the baby's powder thing, I get every now and then, and I still haven't figured out who that's tied to. I'll get that. I'll smell my grandfather's cologne randomly, or uh, just get wafts of cigarette smoke. And I don't smoke cigarettes. There's no cigarette smoke in my house. So I think maybe that's my grandmother coming through because she was a chain smoker. Um, or like things like that, where especially during my times of need, I will smell my grandmother's perfume and smell the cigarette smoke and just like feel her hands on my shoulders. Um, so it was just like from a young age, I always had those like little things. But then as you grow and try to continue to feed off of your own talent, right? Like you want to expand it. And so like I've started doing tarot card readings. I try to do like a 3 card pull every day, write down what I got, and then revisit that at the end of the month and see like where the readings were, where my predictions were right, what I could have maybe seen differently, and how that tied in with those cards that were presented. So it is
Wow.
definitely a growing process.
Yeah. I want to start doing readings myself. I took my friend's course. My friend, he does a tarot course every, once in a while. His name's Matthew Mornian, and he's really good, But like at the time I took the course, I was having entity attachment, so I couldn't pay attention. But the good
Right.
thing is that he recorded them all, so I can go back and watch this. But you know what? I didn't think about one
Oh,
thing that you said was,
fantastic.
yeah, you said that like you do a 3 part card pull for yourself every day. It might be good for me just to do 3 card pulls for myself and just look up the definitions and see what's going on with
Yes.
myself. And would you agree
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do it as like a lot of people will say like you have to do like past, present, future. I loosely take that into consideration. Um, but like it's more about what each card means and then what they mean together. because that's what you kind of want to look at. Like, how do these cards fit into each other, and how would they fit into the situation? And then the key with reading for yourself is not to be biased, right? You want to like read the cards and get all of the good stuff, and ignore like if there's something that's looming in the background. And or like if you want a certain outcome for a situation, you want to ensure that you're not trying to read the cards to get the outcome that you want. And that's definitely something that everybody struggles with. I feel I definitely do, and that's why I write them down so that I can look back at them with more of a fresh eye and be like, oh, that's what that was saying. And that's why this happened. And that's why I made that mistake. Okay. I got this. Yep. Like that. So, it's a little better to, I think, to do 3-card pulls. You can definitely assign the, past, present, future to them, but it's very much trusting your intuition, and then being able to be playful with the cards.
Yeah, I like that. That's amazing. Wow. Well, this was so much fun. I'd love to have you back on again. This was, but I had a blast. I mean, this was great. Honestly,
I had a lot of fun as well.
You did really good. I'm telling you, you did like amazing. Like you did like, I mean, you knocked it out of the park. You really did good.
Thank you so
like
much.
if I was gonna grade your readings, I'd give you like an A for sure.
Yay.
I mean, like, and I have a lot of people on readings.
I would like a gold star sticker, please.
Remember the scratch and sniff stickers when we were kids? Those were
cool. I love those. I had a scratch and sniff shirt. Do you remember Gadzooks? The clothing store that ran along with Hot Topics before Hot Topics turned into like a joke store.
Yeah.
I had 2 scratch and sniff shirts, and they were amazing. One smelled like green tea, and I forget the other one, but the green tea one was my favorite. They were great. I love scratch and sniff stickers. I still, every time I go into the aisle that has the plugins, they have scratch and sniff stickers, and I think it's just very nostalgic where I'm just like I have to, I just have a compulsion to scratch them.
That's so cool. Yeah. This is so are you just like, so do you just want to tell the audience before we finish up, like anything you want to promote and like what you're working on and anything like that, or you know what I mean?
Yep. So coming in the works, I'm currently editing 3 different projects. So I should have 3 different videos coming up on my YouTube channel. That is the Cat Monster Arts. So if you could give that a follow, so you can follow, when I do start posting, that would be amazing. I have coming up soon is the podcast with me and my friend Kita. And then always follow me on Instagram at Veiledartist. And then maybe we'll start trying to do something on TikTok. I might try to start doing readings on TikTok and just kind of do that there. Practice makes perfect. And that is, I believe, also Cat Monster Arts on TikTok.
Yeah. I'd like to start doing some live stuff too. If you want to do some live podcasts, since
I am down.
I know we talked about it, but I definitely want to do that. Like I have some ideas.
Yeah. And we wanted to go do the haunted places.
Yeah.
Try to get readings there.
Sure.
Yeah. I sent you a couple of spots that I thought would be neat to definitely check out. So hopefully that's coming in the works after you come back from the conference. And get settled in. Maybe in August we can try to do one of those sort of things and just broadcast live from our phones. I got tripods we can set up, so we'll make that work.
There's
welcome, Maya.
That's like really haunted, right? It's like super haunted. It's like, I know, like I can't think of what who goes there. There's a oh shit, I can't think of it now, but there's one place that's like, it's like known, it's like an old penitentiary or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Or
the one in Philly?
Maybe.
Is it here in Pittsburgh?
I don't know. I gotta look it up, but I'll look it up. I'll figure it out. Yeah,
I do love old penitentiaries. I both get very, very sad in there. Um, but I'm also very interested in the mindset of the doctors on where they were that they thought these things were going to help people. Like, like some of the things that they did were very torturous. Some of them were very murderous. Um, but then also things like lobotomies. Like, why did you think that was a good idea?
I
Um,
know, man. It almost
you
it's
know,
like it's almost like a form of torture if you think about it. Like
Mhm.
and I think like that they knew more than they're telling us. I think like our whole history was like somewhat of a lie. So I don't know what these things were that were going on back in the day. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah, well, and a lot of times with those older penitentiaries, if you were fighting over land with somebody, if there was an inheritance and your older sibling who was a bit eccentric was going to get more, you could commit them and they could get lobotomized and then they were useless to the family. So, there was a lot of that went into it as well, where like people were wrongly committed and then spent their whole life in there. And then the torture that happened, some of the nurses were sadistic people. um so but then you have like stories where there was some hospitals that turned around and were able to actually rehabilitate people and things, but there tended to be like so much corruption in those systems, that when I go into those places, there's always like a heavy heart. There's always fear that happens. And um, sometimes I get whispers in those type of places. So I'll be able to like kind of pinpoint where something's coming from and try to like have a conversation with the spirit, to figure out like why it's staying there, what's keeping it in, like what had happened. So it would be fun to do
I
that.
have a ghost box too. My ex-girlfriend got me a ghost box. Like
Ooh, I want to try one of those. That's the ones where is that the ones where they switch to the channels and then it comes up with the
yeah,
word
yeah,
skip,
it's like
skip,
a
skip.
little radio type thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it just runs off
that would be
batteries.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
so
should
we
totally
can
do that.
definitely use that for sure. That would be cool. Like
Hmm.
we definitely should do it. Yeah. Well, this was amazing, and yeah, guys, I have one more show tonight. I'll be live at 9 p.m. Eastern with Candace and Michelle Whitney. We're gonna do a show, and that should be fun. And yeah, and
Real
anything else?
quick, uh, Maya wanted to know if I got physical symptoms from those places. So sometimes I will feel pressure touches or like somebody walking past me or like a hair flip, but I've never been damaged by anybody. Like I've never had an entity like scratch me or push me or anything like that. But I also don't yell at them. I think like if you go in there with an aggressive behavior, you're going to get more of an aggressive response. Like if you go into those, like I hate those ghost hunters that go in there and they're like, touch me. And they start screaming at them. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? You wouldn't do that to people. Why are you doing that to somebody that's clearly traumatized? Just because they're
Yeah,
on the other side, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I
I
agree.
fortunately have not had any like real negative things from that, but like I definitely have been sensed. Like I've sensed things physically. But yeah,
Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, we'll look for somewhere good to go. Yeah, we'll do that live. That'll be awesome. Like, I'm actually
that'd
really
be so
looking
fun.
forward to that. And you can come
Yep.
on
So
again and do
we'll
readings
schedule
if you
for
want to.
August. Oh,
Like
absolutely. Anytime you want to have me, just throw me an invite when you have a free spot open. I don't care if we do this weekly. I have fun with you and your audience. You guys are great.
awesome. Well, thanks, Kat, and I'll be talking to you soon. And thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I'll see you guys in a little bit for the next
Thanks,
show. And
everybody.
have a good night, guys.